Now keep your palms open and keep the object which you are going to manifest the power with on top of your palm, and holding that space of oneness, give a command through your third eye to teleport that object to a specific place where you want it to be teleported. Make sure it is a strong declaration from the space of oneness and completion, and holding that space, chanting the Mahavakya, declaring for that object to get teleported to another location. So let's now start the power manifestation round. Start chanting the Mahavakya and let the power manifestation happen. Yes, now relax. You can share the experience of this power manifestation session. You can put it in the chat or in the comments section. What is it that you experienced? Whether you were able to manifest the power, to what degree you were able to manifest the power. And for all those who were able to manifest to whatever degree, congratulations. And even for those who might have only started to enter into that, the initial phases, so to speak, of this power manifestation, it's a good start, because once you start manifesting more and more, you will see yourself getting grounded into that space and manifesting more and more power. So if you have, even if you started feeling some sensations on your palm related to that object on your hand, it is a good start. It is that you are entering, it means that you are entering into that space of oneness, connecting with the common source between you and that object. And once that object touches that space, the layer within, and connects with that source existence, right from the space, that's where this whole manifestation of this power happens. Yes, Ma Sangita is telling that she got goosebumps while doing this power manifestation. Exactly. That's where you start entering into this whole new space, connecting with the common source and starting to feel those sensations, the object entering into that layer where it touches uh, the common layer of the existence between you and the object. And that's from where the whole manifestation from one look.
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda. Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om.
Yes, sorry for the technical glitch. So, yes, as we were speaking, congratulations for all those who manifested this power. especially Ma Sangeeta. So we will now be moving on to the next section after this power manifestation, and also make sure you head over to the social media platforms and share your experience. If you've taken the videos, recorded the videos, please upload those videos also on the social media and share it with the people, sharing your joy of manifesting this power, and so that it also acts as a proof, as a testimony that you have manifested this power. The science of power manifestation is real, so that others can get inspired to also get a glimpse and have a taste of this power manifestation science, and inviting them also to register for the upcoming season of Paramashivoham starting from 17th. So moving on to the next section now. All right, so next section is going to be a Q&A on divine feminine consciousness. So today's theme throughout all the sessions has been Vedic feminism and the divine feminine consciousness, mother worship, a very unique and powerful aspect of Hinduism, which is a gift from Hinduism to the entire world, and even to all other religions or other traditions, wherever this mother worship or the worship of the divine feminine is practiced in one form or the other. The source of it lies in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, which extensively goes into the details of the feminine aspect of the universe, the cosmic consciousness, the supreme consciousness itself. So moving on now, we will delve into a Q&A on divine feminine consciousness, where Swamiji will be answering questions posed by the disciples and devotees.
Yes. So as we enter this next session, we will be discovering what responses, what answers Swamiji gave when asked about this topic of the divine feminine consciousness by devotees and disciples throughout different sessions and programs conducted in the past. So to start with, the first question that was asked to Swamiji by participants was, I do not understand the meaning of deep passive, the deep passiveness. Please explain. So Swamiji responded that deep passive, that is the most sad thing that happened to women. Understand, being unable to understand this word deep passive, that is the most sad thing that happened to women. Passiveness is the very depth of your being inside the deep space without restlessness. So if you try to be passive superficially, you can be passive outside. Inside, you will be boiling. And when, for example, when will the session end? When can I get out? You'll be having all these kinds of thoughts inside. Even inside, complete passiveness, just life, intense life, just life without any outgoing extrovertness, the center of creation. That is what Swamiji explains as deep passive. For anything, first thought comes and then creation. Even without the thought coming, just being there is being deeply passive. So here Swamiji explains how we can be passive outside, but being restless inside, and being boiling, carrying incompletions, and having so many thoughts inside. But the meaning of being deeply passive is this inner passiveness, complete passiveness, and which is also intense life. Okay. Now, the next question that was asked is, Swamiji, earlier you had mentioned that no person is 100% male or female. One is either 49% male or and 51% of the other gender, but both lead to enlightenment. So we either have 49% male and 51% female, or 49% female and 51% male. So nobody is 100% male or female. And participant asked this morning, you had mentioned that female consciousness itself is enlightenment. Please explain. So Swamiji responded saying that when you are awakening the female consciousness, only then it will get balanced. The very balancing itself is female consciousness. Because the male consciousness will never be balancing. It will always be aggressive. It will be taking over. So always the male mind will be taking over. It will be aggressive. But the female consciousness will always be balancing. Participant further asked, I am wondering of the two aspects of female physical, extrovert, materialistic, beloved, mother, introvert, emotional, caregiver. The materialistic piece, which goes with the materialistic extrovert aspect of the female, does not fit with the concept of ultimate passivity. Could it be the physical aspect of creative force that is born out of passivity? This is what participants ask. And Swamiji clarifies, saying, yes. One more thing, completely when you are an extrovert, beloved, you will not be restless. You understand? At one center, beloved and mother will be one and the same and will be radiating pure romance like Radha. Radha is not extrovert, even though she is a beloved. Always a beloved need not be an extrovert. So there does not need to be any conflict between being a beloved and a mother, being extrovert or being introvert. All these are just different dimensions of ourselves, and they all manifest from the same center. So ultimately, it's about finding the completion within, and then we will be able to radiate both the beloved and the mother aspect, and we will be able to be introvert when needed and extrovert when needed. So Swamiji further reveals that in the initial level, it will be extrovert, but not after that. Because after a certain level, even if you have a beloved energy like Radha, you will not be extrovert. It's actually like a step-by-step process. So in the initial level only, even in a mother attitude, you will be extrovert. After a certain maturity, even in the beloved, there will be no extrovert and it will be introvert. Just for casual connection, so I connected the extrovert with the beloved attitude, but extrovert is not a complete quality of belovedness. The beloved aspect, the mother aspect. So somebody says to give more clarity on beloved aspect, I give extrovert and introvert, but they do not need to be associated necessarily. I only infuse more words to give you more clear vision. Otherwise, if the belovedness gets ripened, the extrovert will disappear. Radha is beloved energy only, but she is not extrovert. So many of us may have had conflicts between this being introvert and being extrovert, belovedness, and mother. Here, Swamiji answers it all, saying how all of them are just different dimensions and do not contradict each other.
Yes. So next, participants are also asking that since the expression of feminine consciousness is irrespective of gender, then why is it that in Manusmriti men are expected to build infrastructure and not women? Swamiji answers that it is like why legs are expected to use for walking and why not use hands. It's just the fact that made for this. Legs are made for walking, not hands. So that's all. Same way, men are made for creating infrastructure and not women. That's all it is by its very nature. But when it comes to consciousness, it is not a natural process. It is a strong tapas, right? So expressing this feminine consciousness means enlightenment. It is not natural that you are potentially carrying the feminine consciousness, but for creating infrastructure by nature, you are built for that. So that is what Swamiji is trying to explain here. By very nature, the male body is built for creating infrastructure. It is more favorable and wired to do so than the female body. Female body, by its very nature, is designed and hardwired to manifest consciousness, to manifest enlightenment. Male body, by its very nature, is not that favorable to manifest enlightenment. For that, you need to do tapas, you need to do penance, right? So if a man works, he can become enlightened. He has to work towards that. If a woman works, she can become enlightened. But as natural body, she is created to radiate feminine consciousness and support men. And men are created to create infrastructure and support women. By nature, this is the way arrangement has been made, but both can work and achieve either enlightenment or the opposite side. They can get into depression or get into enlightenment. They have a freedom. So if they don't work towards enlightenment, or if they work against what their natural tendencies are, naturally they will fall into depression. They have a choice to either fall into depression or to work towards enlightenment and manifest enlightenment. They have a choice, they have a freedom to do so, and both can manifest enlightenment if they work towards that. Another question which the participants asked about this topic: what is the difference between passiveness and acceptance? Swamiji says, even acceptance has some negativity, some negative connotation. Something will come and you will accept it. But in passiveness, nothing will come. So even that notion that something will come and then you will accept that, even that notion itself is not there. There is no dependence on anything external coming or whatever. Simple being passive, overflowing with that life from within. Right? As earlier was mentioned, Maharaj mentioned that when Swamiji said, without even a thought coming, just being present there, alive with your consciousness, that is what the feminine consciousness is all about. That is what real passiveness is all about. So it is much more than acceptance. Another question which a participant asked, the participant said, Swamiji, Radha is Rasai Vasaha, that is the embodiment of rasa. Asking for Swamiji to comment on it. And Swamiji said, yes, she is the embodiment of juice in everything. In everything, there is some juice, so that essence, right? So she is the embodiment of that juice. Whatever you may be doing at the end of the day, you know something is the juice of your life. You will want that. So she is the juice of the whole thing. She is the essence, the rasa of the whole thing. That is what the meaning and the true significance and the connotation of the word Radha also means. Now, very important question one participant asked, very interesting. How can learning happen with passiveness? Does that mean analytical side is not important? Because usually in our education system, we are taught that learning means developing our analytical capability, logic, reason, right? Only through reason, through dissection, do we really comprehend what the nature is all about, how things function, right? That's what almost the entire modern science is all about. Swamiji answers, if you are completely passive, anything comes in front of you, the lesson needs to be learned. It will be digested. Very, very important that we don't know. Nobody teaches us this fact. That's all. He will learn the lesson without doing any postmortem. Learning by doing postmortem is active learning, which will always be half knowledge. What we know as education today, Swamiji is saying that is active learning through postmortem, through logic, through analytical dissection, through deduction. That is all half knowledge. That is why Ayurveda does not have side effect. See, after you kill the body, whatever knowledge you get is not complete knowledge. That is why Ayurveda does not have side effect, because those medicines are created for a living body. There is no post-mortem done in Ayurveda on a dead body, and then deductions being made on how to what diseases are and this and that. Everything, the whole knowledge system is based on living mechanism, the living body. And the way this knowledge system is or has been created is by the passive learning, not the active analytical learning. The Ayurvedic masters are intelligent enough to diagnose the whole thing when the person is alive. So the whole R&D goes on a living person. That is the difference between the Hindu education system and the modern, the so-called Western education system. So deep passiveness, consciousness, anything that comes in front of you without getting killed or without doing any post-mortem, you will learn the lesson. Deep passiveness, you will learn more lessons strongly than activeness. Actually, Swamiji also shared a story when he was traveling in the initial days when he traveled to the United States, when he took the flight for the first time, I think it was. And he said that he just sat on the chair in the plane itself, and he was in such a deep samadhi, that deep state of passiveness. He just put his awareness on the entire aircraft, and suddenly he could see the whole knowledge of how the whole machinery functions, right? All the aspects of the mechanism, right? The propulsion, the engine, and how the whole maneuvering happens, and how all these circuits are independently functioning and how they are coordinating with each other. The whole knowledge suddenly got downloaded into him, and he just knew how the whole thing functions. He did not dissect anything, he did not learn, he did not open a book, he did not ask anyone, or he did not think logically. The whole knowledge just simply got downloaded into his system, just in that deep state of passiveness. That is what the whole Hindu education system is all about. That is what the Gurukul education system is all about. When the kids from a very young age are taught to connect with their source consciousness, to be in that deep state of restful awareness with almost zero TPS, thoughts per second, and the whole knowledge from the cosmic archives can be directly downloaded. Whatever you need to learn can be simply learned. It will simply manifest in you. It will just open up and you can manifest it. So that is the power of passiveness. So Swamiji says, today's this lesson that I am saying, the deep space that you are experiencing, the same you will experience if you have done yesterday's ironing. Means the yesterday's in that session. Swamiji is talking about the sessions, the completion sessions done by the participants to be in that space of passiveness. From outside, when you start, it looks too different. When you end, it will be same. There is no need for actively fighting, no post-mortem, and the lessons are learned from passiveness. That's all. Next question that the participant asks is, why women get going with the idea of being equal to men? So what is this whole thing about being equal to men, what the whole modern feminism talks about? Swamiji says very interestingly, because man used women by putting this idea into their head. The whole idea of equality is also another way of man exploiting women in the modern day, in the garb of upliftment or equality or whatever. It is man only who has put this artificial equality idea into women. Because men and women have their unique roles, have their unique responsibilities. And this whole notion of equality has been created by men to exploit women in another way, so to speak. Another question from the participant. I feel society have an individual gender being we have heard of the Western term tomboy. It is used for girls who behave in a boyish manner. Society always keeps insisting on goals like go to school, study hard, go to college, get a job. Nobody was there to tell the true female's role spreading female consciousness. Again, it is related to that previous question of equality, right? If you're equal to man, so whatever men are doing, women are also supposed to do. They're also supposed to be in that state of infrastructure creation and goal setting and achieving and ambition, going to college, getting a job, having a career, same exact copy, whatever men are doing, which is not what Swamiji has stated as the role of women. The way the female body is hardwired is to manifest the feminine consciousness. Of course, they have to do tapas, they have to work towards manifesting enlightenment. But by very nature, the female body is hardwired to manifest powers. It's much easier in a female body to tap into that super consciousness and start manifesting powers and supporting the society in creating the enlightenment and maintaining the enlightenment ecosystem. Even in the Vedic system, in the ancient Hindu ecosystems, it was the women who had that leadership role as the epicenter of maintaining the enlightenment aspect of the whole ecosystem. So the participants ask, I am also pondering, what if I work solely to stay as Ananda Samadhi, right? My thoughts are flowing. Please share your insights. So ever since the last inner awakening, I wanted to do is just mission work. If we do something like what another participant is doing, like taking up an active role, but still working for the mission, is that still considered a woman working in the society? Like working, playing an active role, but fundamentally doing the work, KAILASA's work, Sangha's work. Is that still considered as active working in the society for women? Swamiji says, no. When you are not being pressurized by fear or greed, your inspiration is realized, then it is not equivalent to working in society. Because the so-called working and career in society means you are always pressurized by fear and greed. You're always fueled by fear and greed. That is the whole context of working today, right? This whole game of infrastructure creation and everything is fundamentally driven by fear and greed today. So when you're not driven by fear and greed, and only inspiration is the fuel for you, it is not equivalent to working in the society, even in the active sense. Sometime in the Sangha, Swamiji says, I use the fear and greed just to inspire you only, not to keep that as a fuel forever. In society, when inspiration is used to push you in fear and greed, yes. So Swamiji says, in society, however, even inspiration is used to push you in fear and greed. That is the whole difference. In Sangha, Swamiji uses sometimes fear and greed to push you into inspiration, to inspire you, just as some trigger mechanisms, for temporary purposes, not for the permanent, to drive as a fuel for you. But in society, even inspiration is used to push you into that pattern of fear and greed so that you can constantly be enslaved into the whole mechanism of the society. Participant also asks, meditation, especially the ironing part, which Swamiji was talking about earlier, led finally to surrender. Today's session is also about surrender. Is this right? Today, during the break, I was in the feminine energy mood as you asked us to be in. I noticed something that I was very giving and forgiving. Swamiji says, yes, beautiful. This is the smell of feminine energy, the feminine consciousness. Always being in that space of giving and forgiving, being in that space of passiveness and surrender. Another question participant asked, I gave what someone asked for even without thinking. Is this very unusual for me? It is very unusual for me to be like this. I think many times before giving something, I also felt a little vulnerable, little understanding or a click that I could give anything. It was a little scary. That's what the participant is sharing. Giving without thinking anything, just giving. In the feminine mood, Swamiji says, your life, you won't need anything else. When you are in that feminine mood, you have that, you are so fulfilled from within, you don't need anything from outside. So you just don't need anything else. You don't feel vulnerable. If you feel vulnerable, you will avoid this feminine consciousness. You will start putting boundary. So whenever the mother energy comes, no, that if I start giving to people, I may be cheated. No trust. Be vulnerable even if you are exploited. Nothing wrong. That I will be losing something, nothing. It will go and it will come. It will all be happening. But that consciousness, that feminine consciousness which you enjoy, that is something really solid. That is worthy of everything. That's worthy of everything. So Swamiji says, even if you feel vulnerable, still have that trust, have that deep trust to stay in that space of feminine consciousness, because that is worth of having. That is worth having despite anything else. So despite you feeling vulnerable, or because if you feel vulnerable, you will always avoid being in that space of feminine consciousness. So have that deep trust that even if something goes, it will come back. It's not a problem. Be in that space. Even if you feel vulnerable, that's fine. Just be in that space of feminine consciousness, continuously in that giving and forgiving nature.
So participants further say that had a little click or an understanding that I could give anything, but that was a little scary. And so Swamiji replies saying, don't be scared, it's okay. What is there? Even a person like me feels like this. Then participant again reply, I could relate with what you said in the Matrubhava, which is connecting to God in the form of mother, or expressing the divine motherliness. And that when Swamiji is in the Matrubhava, you will grant anything that people want. Swamiji reveals that, you see, whatever wealth you have, the mood expressed through you is responsible for that wealth. The mood to work, the mood to think, all those things are responsible. So it is this mood which manifests the wealth. We have already delved into this science of wealth creation, and money itself, for example, is not wealth. It is the space from which we create, which is a real wealth, which is responsible. So if somebody says, if some mood comes and gives it away, who got, he gave over, and who got, he gave. So what Swamiji means is, I got all this wealth because of the expression of my feminine consciousness. So today the same consciousness is expressing and it is giving. So the same space from which Swamiji manifested, he is also sharing. He is not holding on to, any wealth, and continuously giving over and over again from the same space from which he creates. So the last final break of acceptance has to happen, and until that happens, we will continue to suffer. Somebody says, see, I am breaking it with 100 ideas. Until that breaking happens inside you, nothing can be done. What am I telling? What I am telling now, I am breaking it every day through so many angles. One day I throw a stone at you, one day some bottles, some flowers, arrows, but something has to hit you and it has to break. So what Swamiji means here is that we need to connect with our inner space and this feminine consciousness inside and realize that this is the real wealth. This is, we should not be holding on to anything outside, but we should be having this deep trust and this deep confidence and powerfulness about this inner space, because this is the real wealth. So since we manifest wealth from this space, and it is the same space from which we share also the wealth and from which we give, then we strengthen this space even while sharing, even while giving. And this whole process only strengthens our confidence to manifest. So this is also an insight into wealth consciousness here. Now, participants further asked Swamiji, if women are expression of living enlightenment, can't they lead in every way, in every walk of life? Can women not be leaders in every walk of life? And Swamiji responds and clarifies, saying, I'm not saying women are living enlightenment. Feminine consciousness is the example. It's not necessarily that all women are living enlightenment. Swamiji refers to the feminine consciousness. And if you live that feminine enlightenment, living that feminine consciousness is enlightenment. And participants ask Swamiji, it is not possible for women to be passive and career oriented. It says there are some careers, passive based career. It won't be a career based career. It will be like living. It is, so for example, the medical field is not a career. It's not driven by fear and greed, as we have seen before. It should not be. The intention is to serve. So it's not a career. We are not centered on profit or competition, but we are centered on serving other people. And if the intention is money, then it is a career. So in the Ayurvedic profession, all the doctors were women, or wherever it cannot be quantified as money, it was with women. So here, Swamiji answers and clarifies many things, how women can lead, and how women can have active roles in the society. So women were never discriminated in the Hindu society. Now, further questions from the participants. If one has an apparent bubbly, verbal, outgoing personality as a woman, what is the place of this in the way you described the feminine? Swamiji responding, I understand that these qualities are not against the feminine. Feminine consciousness is different from the qualities that you express, being bubbly, verbal, and having an outgoing personality. Sometimes you will be bubbly, sometimes you will be passive. The problem is when you are bubbly, you think that you are restless. And when you are passive, you think that you are depressed. So these are things that have been taught to us. Swamiji says, remove this idea. When you are passive, be passive. And when you are bubbly, be bubbly. There will be a space where both will not touch inside. So we will not be getting identified. We will not think that if we exist in a certain way, then we cannot exist in another way. Swamiji reveals that all of us are multidimensional. We have at least 25 different dimensions. And expressing one dimension does not contradict or suppress the others. And this inner space where we do not feel attached, where we do not feel touched, and we do not get identified, is the feminine consciousness. But you always put a wrong label for your life. When you are active and bubbly, you think that you are restless. And when you are really passive, you think that you are depressed. That is where the problem starts. So as we have seen earlier, even with the concept of career, how we are always driven towards fear and greed. Same way we have been taught uh, that we are restless whenever we are too expressive, and that we are depressed if we are just sitting with ourselves, which is not the case. We all of us have both these dimensions, and we need to be able to experience both and express both whenever required in our lives. Now, participants further ask Swamiji, when you say passive life equivalent to feminine consciousness, I can understand passive part, but is life equal to energy? Swamiji says, understand energy itself is passiveness. Intense passiveness is energy. Passive life, it is full, it is packed. So when we are meditating, also when we are passive, we are not dead, we are not dull. This is actually the space, the creation space from which intense energy manifests. And Swamiji says, when you have the imagination, it is moving, it is not full. So you have an idea of energy as electricity, but the energy I am talking about is intelligence, shining. So, but ask, so is energy equated with consciousness? And Swamiji says yes. So here, Swamiji clarifies our understanding of energy and how it is not just something moving. And when we are sitting, when we are passive, when we are intensely sitting with ourselves, we experience the consciousness. We connect with something, the source of life from which energy radiates. So passiveness is not dullness, and it is a very active state. And in fact, Swamiji says, which is a very powerful thing that we can all apply in our lives. If we look in, whenever we are passive, what kind of inner space we have, we will be able to see that this is exactly the same that we experience when we are active. So for example, if I'm sitting with myself right now, but feeling angry or restless, then the same will transpire into my actions. So whenever we desire to change anything in our lives, when some dimensions of our lives are not expressing the way we want, the way to change that is by becoming passive, by tuning into this passiveness, this feminine consciousness, and seeing how our inner space is. And in fact, when we gain this ability, we can completely transform ourselves by mastering our inner space and becoming aware of everything that goes on inside us, and we will be able to change its counterpart in whatever we are doing.
Yes. Moving on now, next question coming from the participants. Does expressing feminine energy necessarily include nurturing in the form of family, husband, and kids? Swamiji says, I can say in the Vedic marriage there is a mantra, let your husband be your 11th kid. By the 11th year, you are supposed to become mother for him. Then you are fulfilling that feminine consciousness. So all aspects of your relationship, the beloved aspect and the mother aspect, both will become fulfilled. Taking the example that by the 11th year, your husband should become your 11th kid. You should have that motherly nature, the nurturing nature, even towards your husband. So it entails that fulfillment of your feminine consciousness, the feminine aspect in all its dimensions. Now, follow-up question from the participants. In Vedic culture, how were women treated when they were married versus when they were single? Swamiji says, married women, they were the heads, particularly in the Vedic tradition, to run the family. They were the head of the family, the epicenter. They were the center pin, the power center, and when they were single, naturally, they were sannyasinis, highly respected and regarded. Now, the participants have also asked, how will it work in today's culture when making women career-oriented is the way of life and where there is no support system if women is not married and not educated for a traditional career, so to speak. Swamiji says, I will create monasteries. That is the only way. Because outside there is no ecosystem, practically speaking, today to have that, uh, to, to let women express their enlightenment, which they are hardwired to do, to to really take the responsibilities which they are supposed to do as the center of the ecosystem, the power center, the leaders in the sense of uh, manifesting the consciousness and keeping that superconscious energy of that ecosystem alive, making sure that the enlightenment ecosystem continues to manifest in the way it should. That whole ecosystem is gone, it is lost right now in the modern world. And the whole idea is to also make women career on oriented, outwardly, not passive, as we have been speaking. Because if you are passive, you will naturally manifest that pure life energy, the consciousness, right? But women are pulled out and away from that, their role, which comes naturally to them, and made career oriented, which basically means making them fear and greed based, just like men are in today's world. So, which is, of course, against their nature, which is at the same time not the responsibility and the role they are supposed to take in the society, which is to uh, be the leaders when it comes to manifesting consciousness and keeping the consciousness science alive on planet Earth, keeping enlightenment alive on planet Earth. So the only way, Swamiji says, is that he will create ecosystem for it to happen. He will create monasteries for this to happen, where women can manifest feminine consciousness in the purest possible way. And that is what Swamiji is doing through creation of KAILASA now. And as you can all see, that if, in fact, most of the positions in KAILASA government are, the roles are held by women. So Swamiji is actually making it happen, where women can express their feminine consciousness and at the same time be in a leadership role and even active roles in the outward worldly sense, but at the same time fundamentally fulfilling their innate nature and their role as the custodians of enlightenment sciences. Another interesting question from a participant: is being shy a passive feminine quality? Swamiji says no. Being shy is egoistic and arrogant. Being shy is not a feminine quality. Life is what feminine quality is all about. Manifesting that pure life from within. See, we have these wrong notions again taught to us by this artificially equality based society, teaching us that what passiveness is nothing but, shyness or becoming introverted or becoming completely inactive and dull, so to speak. But that is not what passiveness really is. Stillness does not mean dullness, right? Non movement does not mean that it is an absence of energy. Passiveness itself is the source of real energy. Passiveness means that you are so full from within, the whole life is happening in its entirety within you, that you don't need anything from outside. So there is no movement from within. Any movement happens because you feel unfulfilled. You're not full within. So you want to get something from outside. That's from where the whole thoughts start arising. But in that stillness, in that passiveness, you are so full and then brimming with that life energy that there is absolute restfulness. You don't need anything. That is what pure passiveness is, and that is what feminine consciousness is all about. So manifesting that feminine consciousness is actually something that is full of life. It is equivalent to manifesting life itself. So there is no notion, no scope of being shy or withdrawing or being introvert or inactive. And in fact, even if in some moments you feel introverted, not labeling yourself with it, just moving along with all the dimensions, all the emotions of life, right? When you're bubbly, as we already mentioned when somebody was speaking, when you're bubbly, be fully bubbly. When you are uh, Passive, just be passive. Just flowing with everything, all the dimensions, without any labels. That is what the feminine consciousness is all about. Moving with life in all its aspects. Do you mean feminine energy has Shakti? Whatever exists is energy. That is what question, another question that participant is asking. Swamiji says, yes, that is exactly what I mean. Feminine energy, feminine consciousness is the source, the Shakti, the source of the existence itself. All the energy that exists. That is what feminine consciousness is. Swamiji also says, he adds that because I am in a male body, yes. So basically, participant asks a question that Swamiji is carrying a male body. So is it okay if they're relating with Swamiji as a mother or in a female body sense, so to speak? Swamiji says, don't bother, I have to carry some body, so I am carrying the male body. That is why I'm carrying the male body. Otherwise, in the consciousness level, I don't feel I am a male or female. I am only feeling I am beyond both. I will not have a problem. Don't worry. You can continue to relate with me as a mother as well. So if you want, if you are having that feeling, the connection with Swamiji, that you are relating with him as a mother, so that should not contradict because he is carrying a male body. The frame may be male on the outside, but he is consciousness itself, pure consciousness, Paramashiva, which is beyond any gender. So you can continue to relate with him in the form of mother as well. Another question from the participant. Nurturing choicelessness, acceptance seems, but at some point, intelligence through intuition, rather, one influences crores of events. Is it like the snake story? Hiss but don't bite. Almost like shock absorber, active where necessary but patient. Is this understanding right? When a participant is giving their understanding about the feminine aspect, the feminine consciousness when manifesting it. So what they perceive it as, right? So Swamiji says, yes, you are right. He will not be hurting. Even the hissing hurts. You see, it frightens. He will not even be doing that. He will be strong. The individual manifesting the feminine consciousness, he will be strong. That boundary is cut. Nothing can be done. Yes. So after this series of Q&A on feminine consciousness, we will now enter into a short internalization exercise, just taking this whole understanding to a deeper level and trying to imbibe whatever we have learned so far. So in this exercise, let's contemplate and also we can pen down on these two questions. First, when you spend time with children, be it your own or others, what do you feel? So take some time and contemplate on this question. When you spend time with children, what do you feel? Can be your own children or somebody else's children. What is that feeling that you get from within? Contemplate and pen down. Once you have penned down this, the answer to this second question is, when you feel you were a mother to yourself mentally, how did you feel about this? This is about a more personal aspect. When you felt you were a mother to yourself mentally, how did you feel about this? So let's start with the first question and then you can move on to the second one. Contemplate and then also pen down your understanding. When you spend time with children, be it your own or others, what do you feel? So let's begin. Yes. So hopefully you have all penned down and finished and completed the exercise. You can share it in the chat as well or in the comments section. Or if you have any doubts, you can ask and we'll be happy to clarify. So let's now move to the power manifestation round now. This is going to be the last power manifestation session for today before we end this day in the glimpses of Paramashivoham level 2. So this round is going to be the power manifestation where we are going to teleport a small object within the same place where you are currently now. So let's get ready for manifesting this power. Sit in Padmasana or Vajrasana with the head, neck, and spine in a straight line. Keep a small object next to you. Keep your hand in the Samana Mudra, like this, in front of you. Connect with Swamiji and chant the Mahavakya. We'll be playing the Mahavakya audio for you to chant along with it. Feel your body as light as Paramashiva. Feel your entire body becoming the Divya Sharira of Paramashiva, his own manifestation, his extension. Paramashiva manifesting completely, at oneness manifesting completely. Now sit and keep that small object, simple object, it can be a ring or anything. Keep it in front of you. It can be a fruit, pen, pencil, eraser, whatever. You can keep it on top of a table or any platform next to you. And now pen down in a piece of paper telling where you want the object to teleport and then start manifesting. Keep that written paper near to the object. You keep the object on the table, note down on a piece of paper where you want that object to be teleported in the same room, in your vicinity, in some other place, and keep the paper next to that object. Then start chanting the Mahavakya, connect with Swamiji from that space of oneness. Then declare for that object to be teleported, holding that space of oneness within while you're chanting the Mahavakya. From your third eye, make that strong sankalpa declaration, connecting with that object, for that object to be teleported. And let the manifestation begin. Yes. Let's now relax. You can now share your experience, what all you have experienced during this power manifestation session in the chat or in the comment section. Even if you have started feeling those small sensations, vibrations, connecting with that object in front of you, it's a good start. Many people, even in the past power manifestation session, they said they started feeling goosebumps when they were trying to enter into that space. So you can have multiple types of sensations or feelings, or various ways you can start manifesting this power when you connect to that space, that pure consciousness, the space of oneness, where that connection with that matter in front of you starts happening. So you can have multiple sensations. So if you've even had some similar sensations, you have started manifesting the power. And when you go deeper and deeper, you will see that the teleportation starts happening. So for all those who have manifested this power to whatever degree, congratulations. You continuously keep manifesting the power, and we'll get more and more grounded into this power manifestation and the space of oneness, connecting with Swamiji more and more, ferociously declaring integrity, and the power manifestation will only become more and more intense. You can also head over to social media platforms and share your experience of power manifestation and also the previous sessions today, what all clicks you received, what all cognitive shifts you experienced, powerful cognition you received, what all transformations you went through today. In all the sessions, the knowledge you gained, you can share it with people, inviting them to attend Paramashivoham, the upcoming season, which starts on the 17th of March. You can register at paramashivoham.org, where you can invite them and enrich them to be a part of this life transforming experience. So with this, we now come to the completion of today's day in Glimpses of Paramashivoham Level 2. Tomorrow we will be back with yet another exciting series of sessions aimed at transforming another aspect, another dimension of your life, bringing in the space of oneness and completion into that aspect, and manifesting powers and manifesting the reality that we want. So with this, we now end today with the Purna Mantra, declaring complete completion with ourselves and the rest of the cosmos. Let's now chant, holding our hands in Atmanjali Mudra. Please chant along with us. Om Purnavadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavad Sri Nithyananda Paramashiva Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam. Thank you very much, Nithyananda. Take care.
Nithyanandam.